but we both have number one as The Country Bears. This is the most cursed Disney movie of all time. And for those who might not know the lore of this movie, if you go to Disney World, they have a part that is dedicated to singing animatronic country bears.
Yeah, like
like at Chuck E. Cheese.
Chuck E. Cheese. I'm trying to Five Nights at Freddy's.
Like Five Nights, yeah, almost like Five Nights at Freddy's as well. Well, Disney execs got together. They said, "Hey, you know what? You know what we should do? You know those animatronics that scare children? Let's make that a movie about a bear that leaves his family to join a country rock band." And this is the classic cursed 2000s live action Disney movies that we've gone through over the last 10 minutes. The Country Bears. You haven't seen it, but I've seen it, so I can talk about it.
I've seen parts of it. Like, the funniest part of it is probably when the bear is like, "Dad, am I adopted?"
And they're like, "No, son." And then
they tell him no.
And then his brother is like probably the biggest asshole in it, but is also like probably the only like normal thinking person. He's like, he's a bear. Literally, he's a bear. And then the cops come because he runs away from home and they ask him a description. And this guy's just like, he's a bear. He's just doing that the entire movie.
His brother?
Yeah, his brother. The brother is like the only rational person where they're like, wait a minute, you're adopted. You're a bear. Why are you here? Because obviously he got bullied because he was, I don't know, a fucking bear. And
covered in fur.
Yeah. The good news about this movie is that the trailer is one of those classic 2000s movies where the entire movie is just the trailer. So you don't really need to watch it. Watch the trailer and it's going to tell you everything that happens.
Yeah.
But Country Bears, easily the most cursed Disney movie of all time. Although I will say it is on Disney Plus, unlike some of these movies here. So I'd recommend checking it out if you can, because it's one of those really bad movies that you just can't look away from. It's like a slow train wreck, I would say.
Yeah, definitely a slow train wreck. Country Bears looks cursed. If you just look it up, you're like, oh, this is also something that nightmares are made of, like the other movies. But like, I feel like Disney should stop making live action movies.
I would have to agree.
Like, we get it. You had the whole era where Disney was racist early on, and they've tried to make up for that by putting disclaimers instead of, taking down the racist movies. But they're like, hey, we'll disclaim it for the kids because the kids can definitely read that before they watch the movies. But they also just make these bizarre live action movies, and then the franchises that they make, they just don't know when to stop making sequels. Like, perfect example, Honey, I Grew the Kid. What Marvel movie are we on? I feel like everyone checked out after Endgame. They're like, that was exhausting. We just had probably from movies. 2013. No, 2008 was when Iron Man came out, all the way until 2019 for Endgame. So we just had 11 years of 2 or 3 movies a year from you. And now we're kind of just bumbling through without a plan here. Are they going to ruin Deadpool? And then they just have franchises that they acquire, like Lucasfilms, and then they're like, you know what? Let's make the worst Indiana Jones movie ever. Great idea. Or they're like, let's ruin Star Wars for everyone.
Yeah, let's do with Star Wars, something I was a big fan of before Disney, where the entire trilogy is just ruining the other trilogies forever. Yeah. Like, it's supposed to end the Skywalker name, and then instead they're just like, hey, by the way, all the cool stuff from the last 2 movies, yeah, they suck now. We ruined that. And then similar deal with the Marvel movies, where they're making TV shows and movies every year and running it into the ground. And now Disney has ruined Star Wars, and Star Wars is just a complete cash cow, just awful mid-series.
And like, Star Wars should be cool, but like, because like the first one came out and everyone was like, cool, you remade A New Hope. That was fine. You showed us things that we saw from the past, and you're like, hey, I know that thing. I'm so excited. And then the 8th one came around. People were like, what was that?
What the hell is the Force?
Yeah, and then the 9th one came out, and then it was just a complete disaster. And then they're like, also for Star Wars, they're like, you know what? I know it's Star Wars, but let's get the guy who directed the most recent Star Trek movies to direct Star Wars.